Hey, Bernhard.
Yeah,
How are
hi
you?
Tom. Yeah, perfect.
Nice to meet you.
So my Valtra N5 just came back from the dealer. I got a new software update, and as you can see, I bought a new implement, a new seeder, and the dealer told me with this new software and this combination here, I can do section control with Multiboom, but actually I don't know what this is. And that's the reason why you are here today.
That's a good thing, Bernhard, that I am here, but it's not so complex as you might think. The Multiboom is just consisting out of two machines, the two isobus machines, I presume we have here. Let's go to the front. And looking at this front tank here, it's isobus.
Yes, I saw it with this isobus connector.
Good. I can even see the IF sticker on there. So with having a fully isobus combination of a front and rear machine, we should be able to do Multiboom. And as I see it here, and you have here your dosing units of the fertilizer, and it's transported all the way to the back, right?
Yes, like you can see here. So this should be my fertilizer.
Yeah.
And does this mean that this is one boom? Or?
Yeah, so we're having a physical split with your fertilizer discs and your seeder disc here. This will be your first boom, and this will be your second boom of the 8 seeding elements.
Ah, okay.
And the nice thing is, if in the future we would have even an addition of granulates, you could handle a third boom. So Multiboom can handle 3 booms.
Ah, okay, that sounds good. So now I understand what this Multiboom
is. Yeah, so
actually
it's quite easy. It's actually a double section control. I even mentioned to you when they made the upgrade that you can now handle up to 96 sections. So here you have 8 and 4, I believe, in the front. You can handle with your sprayer now even 96 sections.
Oh, okay. Because I have a sprayer with single nozzle control with more than...
That would be perfect feature then for that.
Okay. That's really good. So for me it was important because now the price for the fertilizer is very high, and I wanted to just save some resources and money. For me it was important to be able to switch the fertilizer separate from the seed. So the first reason is to save the resources.
It makes sense, Bernhard, to have it switched on perfectly, no overlaps, no gaps, having your seed placed at the right time. Mm-hmm. Are you even weeding mechanically in your maize?
Yes.
Yeah, then it makes actually perfect sense to do it this way.
And the second point was because I want to place my fertilizer in a different depth and distance from the seed, that we don't have damage, and it's a good...
it's better for the plants that they are separated, and even with a shallower depth of seeding, it can warm up quicker, and it will emerge faster. I think you made a good decision to combine it with this kind of technique. Let's go into the cap and see what settings we need to do to make it work perfectly.
Yes, sounds good. Let's have a look.
You can go into the cap then, and I will follow. Oh, Bernhard, I can see you have already your isobus UT mask loaded. So do you have both the machines loaded in the SmartTouch Extend?
Yes, I have 2 masks here. I guess one for the front tank and one for the seeder in the back.
Right.
But what is with my geometry for my guidance system?
Okay, so first of all, I can see already you have your guidance on your SmartTouch on the armrest, and the geometry is right, and that's one of the most important settings to get it switched off and on properly with Multiboom, that the distances are correct. And the nice thing about isobus is that they're automatically transferred from the machine controller to the guidance task controller. So if you could check in that menu here somewhere, you could find the isobus settings of the Azione, and there you could go into settings that show you the geometry. And here the 1.78 meters would be the distance from your rear linkage to the actual seeding disc. And the same goes then in the other menu for the front tank, where you measure the same distance but now to the fertilizer disc.
Okay, then I would say
we have to check this.
We have to check this,
right.
And then let's go out and have some measurements.
Okay, right. Correct. Let's do that. Good, Bernhard. Let's check here the rear linkage distance to the discs. To point out here, I can take this line. I will use the bricks to point out. Would be this line here. So if you can take the stick and put it to the drop point.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the best way.
So exactly where the seed hits the ground here.
178.
Okay, perfect. So
And the same goes then for the fertilizer to check where the drop point is.
so this is exactly coming out here at this disc.
Okay, so it would be the 85. Great.
Okay.
Let's check that in the cap then. Okay, Bernard, let me go in first and I can show you directly on the terminal. So, here we are. Let's look now at the armrest terminal where we see our guidance already with the 2 booms. Yeah, the 4 and 8 elements. And on the right hand side your settings for section control. So, just tick on it. You open up the sections like the menus like you're used to. These are the 4 tabs talking about the section control. On the left hand side here, this is the most important one basically, because here it shows you now the differences between the previous section control setup and this one with Multiboom, because here it's showing now in the top Solitaire 23 with this drop down. If you click on that, there you can see you have 2 machines actually where these settings are for.
Okay, so 2 machines, that means 2 booms.
Yeah, you have
machine.
basically 2 chapters of settings here now, one for the front machine and one for the back, and the settings below, for now I would say, let's take the Azione. You can see then these 4 tabs would be the same now here for Azione with this individual settings for the main seater. And if I would switch back to the Solitaire, these settings would all apply for the Solitaire.
Okay, so just to sum it up, I can do all the settings independent
from each other, yes.
Each machine.
And you can even decide whether or not this machine should be used for section control, yes or no. So independent front or rear, and instead of a general on and off.
Okay, and the other information is just for my information, how many sections and the
exactly.
Okay.
That's coming from the task controller, from in this case from the main seater in the back, the 8 elements with the 75 centimeter row spacing.
Okay.
So let's go to the second tab here. Here it would be whether or not your section control in total is on or off, and whether or not you would like to use it on a virtual headland. Like you know, you have already the functionality you use probably.
Yes, so that is the function that I can work the inside of my field at first, then the section control will switch on and off on the headland
on
line.
a virtual line that you draw.
Okay, but that's
the same here, but now per machine. Okay. Then the third tab is actually also quite conventional with your overlap settings of section control, in field, on the boundary, your driving direction. And I can see here something that is already set. Did you set this?
I played around a little bit because I do mechanical reading, and I thought if I put a value for like 38 centimeter in there, the section control is switching off a little bit earlier.
Correct.
For the headland.
Correct. Because if you put in a minus, and that's something a lot of people don't know, then you can actually create a gap so your rows on the headland are not touching each other.
Yes, that was my intention.
Okay. Yeah. And some people intend to have overlap, and then you would have the 38 plus.
Okay. Yep.
Good. Yeah. So, and the last one here would have to do with your overlap on 0%.
So this is if I have not an RTK or not an accurate signal, I can give an additional tolerance.
A little bit more margin on the outside sections or the outside elements in this case to move a little bit into worked area before it switches on and off too nervously.
Okay. Yes. That's also clear.
The last setting then would be the delay times, and this is actually the most important one on top of the geometry settings that we did, the measurements, because this actually decides the moment of switching on and off. So you can see here the black values coming via the task control of the implement, so what the manufacturer said how long it takes between a command and actual shut off, and the below ones are the added times on there for this tractor to react. So could be that this tractor is a little bit faster reacting than maybe your other tractor, because they have different processors and the way the CAN communication works. The good thing is we only have to do this once, so once we did this today and next time you hook it up, this setting still apply. Okay.
That's important to know, because the next time if I connect this machine again, then all these settings will be stored in
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Now, and it's not so hard if we will drive out in the field now, then we could do a test and we do a dry run where we touch across a worked area. And we just fill in the measurements here, whether or not too late or too early, and the wizard helps you through it, finding the right setting and doing the calculation.
Okay, that means we drive to the field and I just have to measure if everything switches correctly, and if not, I just type in the value
Yeah.
I measured, and then the system calculates the
Yeah,
right time.
he does the adjustment of the delay time here by himself.
Okay.
So the outcome
Yeah,
speaks
perfect.
for itself. So my suggestion would be we drive to the field now and we actually do a measurement, and then we know if these settings are right.
Yes, but all in all, it's not so complicated.
Oh,
I
it's
think.
not so complicated. So it's I think it's very easy to use.
Yes, then let's drive.
Let's go. Okay, Bernhard, we're now in the field. I would just suggest that you do your normal run like you always start, just in general to start checking the section control. And once we do the normal passes backward and forward, then we will go out of the cab and check the real placement of the seat.
Okay, sounds good. So I have this port field here, and usually I start working on the headland. So I make 4 passes around the field, and then I drive in the inner part of the field. So I will just start.
That's fine by me. Let's go.
So the guidance system is working, as you can see, and also now the covered area is
Yeah, that's probably switched and marked.
okay. So now I can see I have 2 booms in my terminal, and the fertilizer and the seed is a separate mapping of the worked area. Is it correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So actually you could see when they would have been further apart, but obviously it isn't, but that they have both different colors. Yeah, slightly different colors of green.
Okay.
There is something else that you could see if you would manually switch off one of the sections by hand in the lambkin operation, then it would turn to yellow and stay off all the time. So that's what a yellow indication means.
Ah, okay. So now I have my 3 passes. This is a small part field here at this field. And now we are heading to the headland that is already worked. And yeah, actually now section control should switch off.
This is the first time that we can properly see when we're heading it in 90 degrees on the headland if it's switching on and off properly. So what I would do is just drive straight into the work area, and there you stop. And then we get out of the cab and we measure the distances if they are correct.
Okay, and do you recommend to drive with the cruise control when doing this
Of course,
test?
just keep on driving constantly, because as soon as you start slowing down or even accelerating, then you mess up more or less the switching time.
Okay.
So the better you drive constant, the better it is.
Okay. So now we are heading to the headland.
Yeah, just as soon as you are fully in the worked area, you stop. Yeah,
Okay,
you can see
now.
it switching. Yeah, you can stop. Leave the machine in the ground. It's good for us to, as a reference, where the seat should be placed.
Okay, perfect. Now the booms are white. That means they are switched off.
Switched off. We
Okay.
can get out. Yeah,
And
we
then
have a measuring.
Have a measurement stick.
So here is your headline. Should be here.
So that's exactly what we adjusted in the terminal. Perfect.
Okay.
That's perfect. Very good. But what about the fertilizer?
Yeah, of course, that's the hard part to find into the soil. So I have a trick for that. Just look what we can do to measure that. You just take off one of the hoses of the drop point here, and this is good that it is actually easy to take it off. Of the hoses off, the fertilizer, and we leave it hanging here. It also matches almost the dropping point, so you get an indication.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see, Bernard, where you started. You can see the fertilizer there. Here's your headland line. So it's spot on.
Yeah, that looks really amazing. Very good, very good.
Okay, let's put the hose back on and then you can go.
And now we are getting closer to the already worked area. And now the section should also switch off here.
Yeah, when you're overlapping to the side, also that has to do with the settings that you did in the background, and the tolerances, how much you should be overlapping into the sideways worked area, and it has to do with, first of all, your overlap setting in percentage, and secondly, you could put on top of that the tolerance for the outside section if you put the overlap on 0%.
Okay, that looks really good. So that means now we have an overlap from each section for 100%.
Yeah, then this side tolerance is ignored, and the complete seating element should be in overlap before he switches off, and that keeps him from being too nervous and switching on and off when the way line is not fully straight.
Okay, that looks really good. So that means now I have way less overlap, and also for
this is why you need this kind of features to save money in the end, because now you can see that you're actually working this last triangle that is left to its maximum precision. So that's why we do this.
Yeah, perfect. Looks great.
So now in the second half of this field, we would like to show you some other nice feature, because you did that field in a conventional way with 3 passes surrounding, but here I could say you work with the virtual headland. And so if you zoom out now in the map and you see your complete field, and when you work with the virtual headland, you can see the light blue line and the blue line from the boundary. The light blue line here would be then your virtual headland, and we can use that to switch the section control.
Okay, I already created this headland here on this side of the field because I need a headland on this side. And you say section control can also switch on and off on this virtual headland.
Yes, exactly. So here on the diagonal line that we will face when we head for the headland on the other side, then it will switch off on that light blue line.
Okay, and where can I switch it on?
In the settings of section control.
Okay.
On the second tab, there it says automatically section control on, and then in the middle there you can see this box where you can select virtual headland.
Okay, this is the headland mode.
Yeah,
perfect. So
that's it. Or the one thing that you can adjust it better to fit the field circumstances is that you use individual headland segments, so that you can adapt whether or not you want to have surrounding headland or only on the top sides of the field.
Okay, yes, that's clear for me. I already created the headland segments. Then let's try it.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, so now we're heading for the headland, close to the headland, so you can see the light blue line coming. Booms are still active, so we just wait and see what happens. It's a nice, almost 45-degree angle, so should have proper switching here.
Okay, now we are crossing the virtual headland.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah. You already hear that you're crossing the headland line.
Okay, perfect. That looks really good. So now let's try if it also works when we go inside the field.
Yeah, if you drive in again, it should do the same thing.
That means I can activate my cedar even now in the headland before we cross the headland line.
It will not switch on before we pass the line.
Okay, then
the virtual headland, yeah.
I activate my cedar, my cruise control.
The cedar is down, but they're still switched off. And of course, the big advantage is that now you don't have to drive over already seeded area. Now you can do the headland as last.
Yeah, that is perfect for seating grill or something. Yeah, looks really good.
Yeah, so you see, if you make some effort to adjust it all to the settings you want, then once it's set, it's a really good feature.
Perfect.
But what's good to see now is that, of course, you can see the section control here being active and green, but you can also use the Isobus UT of Lemken to see that the elements are switched on and off. Because of the 8 elements of the seeder, they also are shut down in that visual display there. And same goes for the front tank. You will see there also the individual dosage elements being switched off.
Okay, now it's switched off again, and I see it here, my seeder control in the UT, that Morose or...
That of course corresponds, and that's the nice thing of Isobus, that all these terminals work together and these displays, these virtual displays, exchange information on the same go.
Ah, okay, that's really cool. Okay.
Okay, so Bernard, that's all. Let's do it. So it's basically, if you are familiar with the settings, it's not so hard. So I think this is now clear for you.
Yes, thank you.